Okay, for today's floor section, we're pretty much just going to be working around the pelvis area. So we're going to do 3 different variations of bridge, and then I'm going to take you onto your side to do some work on the what we call the lateral side of the pelvis. So we're going to start with our rolling bridge. And I'm going to get you to float the arms up into the air. And for our rolling bridge, this is one where we tilt the pelvis backwards and then we peel each vertebra up one by one till we get to our maximum, and then rolling back down one by one. So we'll just take a breath in here, and we're going to breathe out as we tilt the tailbone or pelvis backwards and peel up. Just to feel your shoulder blades. Take a breath in and rolling back down again. So we don't want to see the rib cage flaring up and outwards, and we don't want to see the back arching. We want a nice long back and soft rib cage. We're going to do this twice more. Breathing out as you come up. In to hold. Out as you lower. And just a quick reminder of the feet. Just you should have even pressure through the feet as you come up and as you go down. So they shouldn't be on the outer edges or the inner borders. So we're going to move on to our bridge with a hip opener. So we'll roll up as we have done. And we'll go with the arms in the air again. If you want a bit more stability, place your arms on the floor. So this time you're going to feel like you press a little bit more with that right foot into the ground. And as you do that, you just open up with the left side. And peel the left back. Now make sure the foot's right back onto the floor before you press out with the left foot. And you open up with the right. Peeling the right back, and we'll roll down. So we'll do that again, but this time we're going to place our hands onto the pelvis. This is to check that the pelvis stays level. So press a little bit more with the right foot as you open the left side, taking care not to allow the pelvis to rock or drop. Take that foot all the way back so you can feel the whole foot as you press out with the left and open the right hip out. Now if you can manage more, let's repeat that again before we lower down. So peeling that left knee back in, pressing out with the left foot. So you'll feel each side working quite hard as you do that. So we're going to do that again, but this time we'll do it 3 times before we lower down. So we're going to roll up. Now don't forget to breathe. So we might take a breath in and breath out as we open up the hip. And then roll the hip back. Find a breathing pattern that suits you. There's not necessarily a right and wrong one on this. But all I want you to make sure you do is not hold your breath. If you're finding that you can only do 1 hip opener before you, and on each side before you need to lower down, that's fine. You can just have a little rest while we finish this 3rd one. And rolling back down. So for our last little bridge, so this is all be working our gluteus maximus, our bottom, our hip extensors. We're going to do a single leg bridge, or for those of you not quite ready for a single leg bridge, you're going to just do a little hover with the heel. So we'll start with that one. So if you lift the heel, the right heel up, roll up into your bridge. And rather than rolling up and down, this time we're going to bend the hip. So we're just going to release through the hip. And just before you get to the ground, you're going to press up. Those of you that are in single leg bridge, hold your right leg in tabletop like this. So we bend the hip, press up. We're going to lower down. Just before we touch the floor, press up. This is really quite a challenge. So do work at the level that's correct for you. So if single leg is too hard, you drop that leg down and you just hover the heel. Even that's quite a challenge. We're going to do one more and lower back down. Obviously, some of you might be able to do a little bit more than this, and that's fine. You can always pause the video and do a little bit more. So we'll change the right side. We'll lift the left heel up or the left leg into tabletop. We roll up into our bridge. And then remember, it's not quite a roll down. You're bending the hip just before you touch the ground, popping back up. We're going to do one more and lower back down and lower the leg down. So that finishes the work for the hip extensors. We're going to come on to work the side of the hip. So I'm going to get you to come onto your side, and you'll need to support your head with a pillow or a small towel. I'm just going to adjust this. Okay, so we're going to start with our lift and lowers, and that means we're going to take the top leg straight. Now before we start, make sure you're in a straight line and the pelvis is slightly tilted forward. That way you're less likely to cheat and use your hip flexors here. Some of you may also find you need to turn your heel to face the ceiling if you don't get the feeling that you're working the side of the hip muscles here. So we keep the legs straight and we lift and lower just to about hip height. Lift and lower. You should be feeling that the side of the hip muscles are working. Now for some of us who've been doing this a little bit while, you might be able to do 20, 30 of these. For others you might have to do just 5. Have a little breather and then do another 5. You can work at the level that's right for you. I hope you're beginning to feel a little bit of a burn now. Some of you may already be feeling it, and that's fine. You can take a rest. I'm going to do 5 more here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we'll bring that knee back down. Whew. Give it a little massage there. So for our last one, this works actually the opposite side. So we're going to come into our modified side bend. So I'm going to get you to place your elbow underneath your shoulder, and we're going to press out. So we really lift that rib cage up higher. So we're not down here because that'll put stress through the shoulders. We press out through the forearm. And so you can see the difference there. We make sure our head, neck is in line with the body. And we are going to come up. We're going to press out through the forearm and come up into our side bend and back down. Now for those of you that want an added challenge to this, you can come up and at the same time stretch that leg out. And then we come down. We can press out and stretch the leg out and back down. So this is really working, obviously a lot of shoulder work, but it's really working the side of your trunk and the side of the hip muscles. I'm going to get you to do 5 more. Now again, some of you might find this really challenging. You don't have to do the legs, so remember you can just come up with the hip, and you might find that 3 repetitions is enough for you. I've lost count now. We'll do 2 more. And I'll do one last one with the leg out. And what will come up, and we'll sit in a position, and we'll just stretch that side that we've been working on. So for me, it's my left side. So I'm going to come up, and I'm just going to go over and give that side a nice stretch. So we'll take the head block, and now we're going to change onto the other side, and we'll repeat those 2 exercises. So support your head, get yourself into position, And we're going to lift and lower. Now again, if you feel you can do more, what I'd suggest you do is after you've finished this side, doing the lift and lower and the side bend, is that you go and repeat another set on each side. You can make this as hard or as easy for yourself just by increasing the repetitions, making things a bit slower. I'm going to do 5 more here. 5, 4. Good. Ooh. And then I'm going to come up into our side bend again. So remember, elbow under shoulder, press out, lift that rib cage up. That's really important. Keep the head nice and level. And remember, this is our basic one where we come up and down, or we go up with the leg out 2. We've done 2. We're going to do 10 of these. Breathing. Keep forgetting to remind you to breathe. That's 10. Okay. So we'll come up onto this side, and that right side that we've just been working, we're going to stretch over to see if you can keep both sitting bones on the floor as we come in and stretch. Oh, I can really feel in that short little amount of time that I have really worked my hip muscles. So that's taken us about 12 minutes. So with the standing exercise and that sitting exercise, you've done 25 minutes worth of work. So well done.